It is Wednesday, March 26th. Happy opening day eve. I'm Katie Woo, who's Bernie Miklasz, and we are ready for the 2025 season to officially begin. Welcome back to Cardinal Territory. Bernie, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Good to be with you relatively soon after we did the last one. This is fun. I'm glad a lot of people watched what we did the other day, so that gives me even more inspiration. So let's go. I can't wait for baseball to start.
Me too. On Tuesday, the Cardinals sent out their official opening day schedule, and it got me really amped up. I love opening day. I love the ceremony, especially in St. Louis, and I just love the symbolism of a brand new season. You truly have no idea where it's going to go, especially with this organization, the St. Louis Cardinals. Can go anyway. Bernie, how are you feeling? How are you feeling going into this?
I got an open mind about everything. I don't know if I mentioned this the other day. I track the forecasts and the projection models, and the people I really respect. So I see the Cardinals range. I've seen a range from 78 to 82. That seems about right as kind of a starting point. It doesn't mean that it won't go below that or above that, but that seems like be a good starting point range. But a lot of things have to go well for them. You look at their offense, and just about every one of their hitters has something in the recent past that shows that they can be really, really good. And I'm talking about more like the younger guys. So if, best case scenario type thing, if a lot of their young hitters, or at least a cluster of their young hitters exceed expectations, the offense will get better. I think the bullpen's going to be pretty good. I would never put it on them to be as good as last year, because that was ridiculous how great they were. And, a lot of it's just going to have to be sort of the push-pull of this season, because it's still very weird. We're still not sure what their number one priority is this season. Balancing, trying to win every game at the expense of maybe not using young players, or we mentioned this the other day. I'm sorry for the long answer. Not riding a long time with Walker and Gorman if they're doing poorly. I don't know what to expect. I think it's going to be an adventurous season. I really do.
I know it will be. It always is. And I feel like every time I go into a season with some sort of expectation, the exact opposite happens. But I will say 76 to 82 wins, whatever projection set you use, that seems to be right for this Cardinals club. They seem to be just under 500 now. Whether or not that will fly in baseball heaven, I don't think so. I was doing my own season preview, which may be out on The Athletic this morning. I don't know. I don't know anything anymore.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, what's up?
Because you get your mailbags at The Athletic are terrific.
Thank you.
Do you get a sense at all? I get some sense, but I think you're more in tune with it, that a lot of Cardinals fans, while disappointed that there's been a downturn, they could get behind a true young, play all the young guys, let all the young guys pitch. Yeah, we could get behind that, the energy, the enthusiasm, everything. So I wonder if the Cardinals even realize that they may have more fans if they really did turn this youth movement loose instead of sort of going halfway with it. What do you think about that?
Oh, I agree. I think Cardinals fans are very smart, and if ownership and the front office went out and said, hey, we're going to play the kids and we're going to help develop the next core of Cardinals baseball. And it's not going to be the type of baseball that you've come to expect here. But by doing this, we are going to get there again. I think this fan base would be totally fine with that. And if you think that your young talent is good enough where you don't have to rebuild fully, which clearly the Cardinals do because they are not rebuilding fully, then yeah, I think the Cardinals fans would get behind it. I mean, you think this city is not going to show up if Jordan Walker has 20 doubles, hitting 280, Nolan Gorman parking ones out of the park, 15, 20 homers. You think that this city is not going to rally behind the players if they play well? I know that they might have some sort of frustration or discernment against the front office, but that will be, in my opinion, at least on the back burner if the players perform well. This is a baseball town for a reason. I absolutely believe that they would be behind that.
And the other question I wonder is, and I know we got to get to some things, so I'm not trying to already put us behind schedule, but I like to ask you questions. The Cardinals, listen, all due respect to Nolan Arenado, because seriously, he's been a star for a long time, and I think he'll be a Hall of Famer. But I was going through something earlier today, and it's just stunning to me in a way, what little star power the Cardinals have. I mean, and gosh, all these years since I've been writing columns and doing stuff about Cardinals baseball since 1989, but even in 1985, helping out Rick Hummel. just Hall of Famers, MVPs, you know, Cy Young Award winners, All-Stars. I mean, on and on and on and on. It's like a galaxy of stars. And I think that's part of it. I mean, who among this group do you see anybody in 2024 or 25, I'm sorry, who can jump out and it's like, oh, that's the team star? Would it be Mason Wynn? What do you think about all this?
It's a great question, and one that I've had conversations about as well, because, you know, Nolan Arenado, of course, future Hall of Famer, by all means a star. But when you think about his performance in St. Louis over the last 2 years, I think he'd be the first to say that wasn't star worthy. Willson Contreras, he's a name fans love. And I really think that we're going to see a really impactful offensive performance from him. And then Mason Wynn has the opportunity to be, provided that spring training campaign was just a spring training campaign. But you're right. With all due respect, it's a boring roster. I mean, these are not names that MLB are marketing or is marketing. This is not names that you're going to see on ESPN. The Cardinals have one Sunday night baseball game. They have barely any of the 6 p.m. Saturday Fox games. I think they have a couple Apple ones, but you know, the good teams are on ESPN, and the Cardinals are on there one time. So, and I'm pretty sure they did that because maybe it's against the Red Sox on Sunday, April 6th. There was going to be some crossover, they thought, with Arenado potentially going to Boston, and that would be kind of like a marquee matchup. But that didn't even happen. So, yeah, I'm a little concerned about the star power. I drive down like to the stadium, and they have the banners of all the players, and I'm like, all right, these are people outside of St. Louis. These are players that people definitely know. These are the stars. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe the stars are going to be in the minor leagues this year. Maybe the future stars are going to be J.J. Weatherholt at Double-A and Quinn Matthews at Triple-A. Tin Cans, I'm not sure about. If he can ever get to 100 innings, I'd probably get excited about it. But yeah, maybe the stars are actually going to be in the minors. I don't know. I don't know either. Just me being like a part of this scene for so long, for decades, it's just so weird to see the place just devoid of like real star power at this moment, you know.
Especially outside of St. Louis, I think they have one of the most unrecognizable rosters in the National League. So yeah, off to a good start there. You can now stream the St. Louis Cardinals games through FanDuel Sports Network. And if you use the promo code BASEBALL30, you can start it off with a 30-day extended free trial at FanDuelSportsNetwork.com/packages. The offer expires on May 2nd. Customers are automatically charged $19.99 a month after the free trial, and you can cancel during the free trial to avoid charges. Eligibility restrictions apply. Visit FanDuelSportsNetwork.com for details.
May I be your assistant? And add that I am a subscriber to that service. And so far, I'm very happy.
Let's get to it because we found out some things. This is our part 2 of our Cardinal Territory Opening Day preview. If you missed the last episode, Tuesday, we had one out with Dan Hayes, covers the Twins for The Athletic, previewed the Cardinals Twins series. This is the more Cardinal-centric episode, though. We found out just how the Cardinals will be lining up on Thursday behind manager Oli Marmol on Monday in Memphis. Marmol released his opening day lineup. I will put it up here on the screen for you. And for you podcast people, I'm going to give it a run. This is how the Cardinals will line up against Pablo Lopez on the Twins on Thursday. And before I read it, Bernie, are we smart? Did we or did we not call this leadoff move?
I think so. I mean, I know I've been raising Cain about it. I've just been like a big time nag about it. And yet, and we talked about it, but I think everyone has kind of gotten to the point where it's like, no, you can't do this again. You just can't. No disrespect to Mason Wynn. By the way, he's great when he hits at the bottom of the lineup, you know, so, and all of a sudden, poof, it happened, right?
See, this is proof. If you manifest things, they will happen for you. So here's the starting 9 for the St. Louis Cardinals on Thursday. Lars Nootbaar batting leadoff in left field. Willson Contreras, he's at first base in the 2-hole. Brendan Donovan will play second base, batting third. Nolan Arenado cleanup at third base. Alec Burleson gets the start over Nolan Gorman. We'll circle back to that. He'll be the DH. Ivan Herrera behind the plate, batting sixth. Jordan Walker, our guy on this podcast, in right field, batting seventh. Victor Scott, the second in center field, batting eighth. Mason Wynn, ninth at shortstop. Sonny Gray on the hill. All right, Bernie, what do you think?
I love Nootbaar at leadoff. You know, no need for me to just kind of beat the thing in the ground about Mason Wynn and his 290 on base percentage as a leadoff guy. You can't have that. And I think, you know, the manager came around on it. You know, I thought he was going to run it back. I give him credit for saying, no, it's not smart, because he had good options. I love Nootbaar in the leadoff hole because he when he's done the job, look at his numbers in 2023, specifically as a leadoff hitter. It's like 309 plate appearance. Numbers were outstanding across the board. The other thing about him, you can plug him in at leadoff and you don't have to worry about, oh, well, they're starting a left-hander, I can't use him there. Because Nootbaar's numbers against lefties are actually really good. Yeah, he's better against righties, but you would expect that. But his numbers are good. So you don't have to worry about, if he's healthy, you don't have to worry about platooning him out. I love the way he set up the top three, too, because all three of these guys, with an asterisk, we're talking about going against right-handed pitchers. All three of these guys, Nootbaar, Contreras, and Donovan, have high on-base percentages, and they have power because Brendan Donovan, fans will want to know this, he's got a .430 slugging percentage against right-handed pitching, and that's why Oli Marmol put him in the 3-hole. Now, I don't think we're going to see him there against left-handers who start. But all three of those guys, the first time I can remember this really, in a while, all three of those guys, what I look for at the top of the lineup, high on base, but you want damage, you want the capability of doing damage, dangerous. They can take a pitcher out of the park and all that stuff. So I like it a lot. The top, I like the top a lot. Do you?
I love this lineup. There's a benefit to carrying an absurd amount of left-handers in your lineup, and we're seeing it here. I think the switch up, the lefty-righty variables here makes it very hard for opposing managers to game plan against this in terms of when you're going to sub in your relievers. Love Nootbaar at leadoff. We've talked about this. Contreras, my pipe dream of Herrera batting second is probably not going to happen, and Contreras is the best hitter on this team. I like him there, and I agree with you. I don't think Donovan necessarily profiles as the number 3 hitter all of the time, but in this case, I do understand it. Also, I'm not quite sure where else you'd put him. And when you're looking back, I like the Herrera in the 6th hole. And I like if Walker has a little bit more protection here, but the speed combination of Scott and Wynn, that is really interesting because if they get on, all of a sudden that lineup flips over and you have Nootbaar, who's no longer like the leadoff guy. He's now being able to do damage with two runners on. And those two are so fast. Nootbaar gets on base, contact guy also has some slug in there. And all of a sudden you're generating a much better offense. So we get so focused on the 1 through 9. But if you're looking at it as, 8 through 3, I think that's a really well done lineup. And it's one of, I think, Oli Marmol's better ones. I'm really intrigued by it.
Yeah, assuming that Victor Scott's going to be good. And again, we're not talking about he's going to be an all-star. I don't want to get carried away, but he was a different hitter this spring. So it really matters with the power that he's added, the changes he's made. So when you have as you said, you have those 2 burners at the bottom. And here's like one other added benefit, in my opinion. So Scott gets on first base, let's say. Okay, he can steal, right? He can steal. But Mason Wynn hits the ball to the opposite field a lot. Oli Marmol is all of a sudden going to have real live opportunities for hit and runs or runs and hits, where he can get everybody moving. And so I could just see the situation, where just the one I described. Scott's on first, he takes off. Wynn goes opposite field. And the fielders are kind of out of position because they see Scott running, and everybody kind of goes a little nuts. And Scott and Wynn are just like scooting around the bases, just really putting pressure on the defense. I love that. And like you said, then the lineup cycles through to the top again, and then 3 really highly capable hitters in terms of on base percentage, working counts, drawing walks, and hitting for power. So that part of it works a lot. I think my questions, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm not quite sure what they're going to get from there, although I think Burley will be good playing against right-handed pitchers. Arenado, I'm cautiously optimistic he'll have a bounce back. I mean, a reasonable bounce back. But it is interesting that it's so loaded at the top, and it's really, really intriguing in the bottom. And Wynn, by the way, last year when he batted 8th or 9th, he hit 396. Yeah. I mean, it's just like crazy. So I'm not so sure about the middle. And I know the fans will be saying, well, wait a minute, okay, it's great. Those guys are going to get on base, but, who's going to drive them in? That kind of thing. Well, they're going to have opportunities. They're going to have a lot of opportunities.
Maybe who drives them in is the top of the order. Here's another thing that I'm thinking about with the speed tandem of Scott and Wynn, 8, 9. Let's say Victor Scott gets on base. If you're an opposing team, he's going to try to steal that extra 90. What are you as an opposing pitcher doing? You're pumping in fastballs. So Mason Wynn is going to be able to game plan a little bit better and think, hey, I'm probably not going to see a ton of off speed in this sequence here. They're pumping in fastballs because they're going to try to throw Victor out. Okay, that changes my game plan. Same thing can be said if Mason Wynn gets on and he's trying to run. Lars Nootbaar, he's going to see a lot of fastballs, much easier to hit a fastball there. And I think it's another added component that we don't think about on the like big picture, broad terms of a lineup. But when you have guys that you know are certified base stealers like Victor Scott and Mason Wynn, that opposing pitcher is going to pump fastballs in. And all of a sudden that can help spark an offense. So yeah, maybe the middle of the order. I don't know. I think Herrera has a pure bat. I like Burleson there. Again, I don't think he necessarily profiles as like a true 5 hitter, but for the sake of the lineup, I get it. And I'm on board with the Nolan Arenado bounce back. Do I think he's going to go back to his Colorado Rockies days? Probably not. But I think it's probably a good sign in the lineup if like your biggest concern is the 6th, 7th areas. I think this is overall a pretty strong lineup from Oli Marmol, and it's obviously not what we're going to see every day. We'll get to Gorman later in the segment and what this means for him and what this lineup might look like against lefties. But for an opening day lineup, I think this is probably as strong as you can go. And what I like the different components here. I like that there's speed. I like that there's power. I like that there's slug. This is a good one. This is a good one, Bernie. We got to move on.
What got into Ollie? What got into him?
I think he watched the show.
I'm sorry to name drop. I was chatting with him today, actually, and I was really kind of teasing him about this. I said, "Oh, wow. Hold on to this, were you? Little surprise before opening day? Like everyone's dogging Oli Marmol for the lineup, and what is he doing? And then it's all of a sudden, voila, here. How do you like that?" So and he laughed. No, but this was really a delightful surprise. I didn't expect any of this. I really didn't. So yeah, anyway, it's fun.
No, one of my favorite things to do, much to the chagrin of the reporters, actual reporters who actually show up to work, is I like to start Ollie's pregame press conference with like a little joke or a snide comment. Just totally ruins the mood. And if I was in Memphis, I think it would not have. I think it would have gone a little sideways because I probably would have said like, "Oh, Oliver, what's going on with the leadoff hitter?" And then he'd just probably tell me to like get out of here, which is how it usually goes. But no, I like this lineup. They're in a good spot. We should though talk about the Cardinals opening day starter. And this is where my strengths as a producer are really going to shine because there's a lot I have to do here. So bear with me. It is time for the player to watch presented by FanDuel Sports Network. You can now stream the St. Louis Cardinals games through FanDuel Sports Network. And if you use the promo code BASEBALL30, you can start it off with a 30-day extended free trial at FanDuelSportsNetwork.com/packages. The offer expires on May 2nd. Customers are automatically charged $19.99 a month after the free trial, and you can cancel during the free trial to avoid charges. Eligibility restrictions apply. Visit FanDuelSportsNetwork.com for details. If that wasn't a radio voice, I don't know what was.
Well, you did a wonderful job, and may I be your assistant and add that I am a subscriber to that service, and so far I'm very happy. So there.
Okay, there we go. That's it.
Yeah.
Baseball 30 at FanDuelSportsNetwork.com/packages to stream St. Louis Cardinals games. Our player to watch in the segment is none other than the opening day starter, Sonny Gray. Okay, Bernie, let's call BS. He, according to reporters out in Memphis, including Derek Gould of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, Sonny Gray has been dealing with an illness. And to be fair, Derek did not say this. President of Baseball Operations, John Mozeliak, did. An illness that has apparently zapped him of energy over the last couple of days. Do we think that's the problem for the velo? Or can we also point back to the 4 other starts where the velo was low and say maybe that's the issue?
Well, number one, the old jaded goat that I am is going to, kind of rise up again. When Mo, all these years, Mo, when they assimilate injuries, I very rarely trust what they're saying. It's not like he's intentionally lying, but I really don't think he's lying. But it's like they always want to minimize it. They always want to kind of go with the best case scenario rather than saying they're concerned. So the fact that it came from Mo, I'm kind of like I tossed that aside, man. I just looked. His fastball velocity was down last year from his the year after his second place finished in the American League Cy Young Award. And that cost him some problems. It really did. They pounded his fastball last season, like really big numbers. It probably didn't help him. Also, they didn't have to swing at some of his trickier pitches because they just wait for the fastball and punish it. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect from him Thursday. And that's probably not a good thing when you're talking about your designated ace, your number one starter. When you say, well, I I don't know what to expect from him.
That's the spirit.
That's not good, right?
Day.
It's not good.
Yeah, to be fair, I do not think Mo is lying about the illness. I do think Sonny Gray is dealing with some stuff. I'm sure he's not feeling well. There's been something going around that clubhouse. Michael Ciani had it. Nolan Gorman had it. They all missed games. So I do believe there's validity in that. It's not why his velo's down. Sonny Gray has been in this league for over a decade. He's earned the benefit of the doubt. He's earned the trust. But when a veteran pitcher comes up to reporters and is candid and honest about having no idea where his velo is, that is a sign for concern. And it's not like the velo was like a minimal drop. I mean, his best pitch, fastest pitch on his last start, topped out at 91.7. That's not the Sonny Gray that I think the baseball world knows and is used to. I will say this. I do like what he said about learning to pitch different. There's something to be said about him going out there on that last start, did not get through the second inning. He was just getting tagged. I think he gave up 4 earned runs in that second inning before Daniel Descalso removed him from the game. But then he came back and he threw 37 pitches over the next 3 innings, gave up 1 earned run, did not use the fastball very much, and became a pitch maker and used a different way to utilize the sweeper and the rest of the off speeds, mixing some curveballs every now and then to get outs. Is that what we see on Thursday? We might. And I think Sonny Gray is talented enough and experienced enough to get away with that, at least for a couple times until ideally his velo comes back.
But I hate to always invoke the name of a former Cardinal, because there are other ways to look at things. But I really think there is a parallel here. Listen, in 2023, 2022, Adam Wainwright, well, actually, no, I got my years wrong. Let me back up. In 2021, we'll just go with that. 21 and 22, Adam Wainwright, his fastball just kept dropping miles per hour. His fastball was no longer potent. His fastball was kind of hittable. But he was so resourceful. He was like a wizard, and he had this bag of tricks, and he could fool hitters and change his arm slot, do all these different things. And it was just guile and resourcefulness, and he was able to finesse his way through a loss of velocity. And I think Sonny Gray's got that capability too. I mean, he's got a wide array of pitches, and the sweepers wasn't quite as effective last year as it was in 2023, but his sweeper's still really good. He's got a bag of tricks, the way the aging Waino had a bag of tricks in 21 and 22, and then the bag of tricks ran out in 2023. But Gray's not there yet, I don't think.
No, I agree. I'll extend him the benefit of the doubt. I think he'll be able to get out of it. It's certainly frustrating as an ace of the staff when your velo is not where it is. He said as much. Do I think that maybe I don't think Sonny Gray is the type of guy that's going to go out there and be like, it's opening day, I'm fired up. He's the type of guy that's like, yeah, let's go. This is my job. But I do wonder if pitching in a major league game and having that kind of adrenaline will help the velo tick up a little bit. But I think the name of the game for Sonny is just keeping the ball in the ballpark. The homers plagued him a lot in the second half after he gave up just 8 home runs in 2023. He also gave up 8 in spring training. So that's good.
What I like? They went back to the old uniforms because I watched Cardinals games last year. Those chintzy uniforms.
Oh, those are so gross.
And Sonny Gray, more than any player, even more than say Lance Lynn, because you would expect, hey, Lance Lynn, big guy sweating. Sonny Gray was like dripping from the first pitch until he left the game, and like he's in the dugout, and it's like things are pouring off of him, and it looked like his uniform like came out of the washing machine. I mean, just like, wow, it's like it was like. I was almost like concerned for him because the uniform, those cheap uniforms made him look like he was like a drenched, drowning man, overwhelmed or something. So he's kind of funny. I like his mannerisms when he pitches. I do, but he'll have like real good uniforms now this year. Like he'll look real good out there.
Authentic major league uniforms. It's funny. The clubbies would have to set aside like 4 or 5 uniforms for when Sonny Gray pitched, not just because he would sweat through them, but also I will never forget this. This is one of the first conversations I had with him. If he's not liking the way he's pitching, as we know, Bernie, let's say he has a bad inning, things aren't feeling right, he will go in that clubhouse and his words, strip down naked and just stand there and put a new uniform on, change everything up and come back out. He had that conversation. Wow. We were on live TV and I was like, all right, okay. That sounds like something a pitcher would do. So yeah, you know what? Let's thank the clubbies in St. Louis. They have to do a lot of things that we do not see, but they are the true unsung heroes of it all. All right, let's get into the Nolan Gorman situation. Okay. But first, let's hear from our friends at Nutrafol.
Hair thinning is very common, very frustrating problem that many men deal with. From stress and nutrition to hormones to lifestyle, so many internal factors affect what you see on the outside. Luckily, Nutrafol is here to help.
Thinning hair is different for men and women, so a one-size-fits-all approach to their hair growth doesn't cut it. Nutrafol has multiple formulas for men and women that are tailored to different life stages and lifestyle factors.
Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand trusted by over 1.5 million people. See thicker, stronger, faster-growing hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol.
Start your hair growth journey with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code FOUL. Find out why over 4,500 healthcare professionals and stylists recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code FOUL.
All right, Bernie, let's get to it. When we started the season, the spring training, if you will, one of the things that we heard all off season was that 3 players, Nolan Gorman, Jordan Walker, and Lars Nootbaar, were going to see extensive playing time. I believe John Mozeliak himself said that he was hoping for Gorman to see around 600 at-bats. And when Oli Marmol finalized that roster on Sunday, one of the first things he acknowledged, to his credit, was it might not longer be feasible to get Gorman 600 at-bats. 450, yeah, they still think they can do that. But by keeping Victor Scott on the roster, who earned it, we talked about it. If you haven't seen our episode on Sunday, go check it out. It's going to cut into playing time. And what we've seen is Gorman on the bench to start the year. Do I think he's going to be on the bench every single game? No, I do not. I think they're going to vary between Burleson and Gorman to start. Donovan's going to have to sit every now and then, but he's more or less a mainstay in that lineup. But I'm wondering if the whole premise of this season was to evaluate what you had in young players like Nolan Gorman and Jordan Walker, can the Cardinals still do that with this roster configured? And how do you expect Oli Marmol to work Nolan Gorman into this mix more consistently?
I was in the camp, and I think I said this Sunday when we did our Cardinal territory, that the one guy that would get squeezed in this scenario, Burleson wouldn't get as many at bats. Well, that shows you how knowledgeable I am on the situation. No, it looks like Burleson now clearly has priority status over Gorman. Like, the decision on a lot of days with Donovan's not going to be at left field a lot. So the days when he's playing second base, it really comes down against right-handed pitching. It really comes down. It's like you either choose Burleson or you choose Gorman as your DH, unless Burley's playing first base that day. And maybe Gorman will start at third here and there. I don't know. So but a lot of days it's going to be Burleson or Gorman. Well, Oli tipped his hand, obviously, with his opening day lineup. And I can understand it because Gorman's swing is really messed up. I mean, I was doing a little intel work on that, and he's kind of in between. Brent Brown's been helpful, but I think in the offseason he was working on some other things. I don't know. He's kind of in that caught in between. The approach might not be totally synchronized. I don't know. Confidence, whatever. So in that context, I think it makes a lot of sense to go with Burleson, even though I'm a Gorman guy. Well, I'm a Burleson guy too. I like him. Burleson had a really terrific year last year against right-handed pitchers. I mean, really good numbers. Gorman did not. So, but to your point, yeah, I don't see Gorman. They're not going to bury him on the bench. He's not going to be like, Lucan Baker, the left-handed version of Lucan Baker, where pinch hitter, first base, on occasion or something. I don't see John Mozeliak, I don't see how Gorman gets to 550 plate appearances or 575 plate appearances, but he'll play a lot, and then it's up to him to change. Burleson has priority status now if it's between the two. Gorman will be able to play enough to change that, and maybe he'll get priority status. I don't know. As always, log jams, jigsaw puzzles, Rubik's Cube. It's welcome to Cardinals baseball. It's always something, right?
It could be so simple, but then it wouldn't be the team that we cover. So I agree with you. I think Burleson earned the opportunity based on spring, and let's not talk about Burleson like he's not some borderline. I mean, he was one of their 5 picks in 2020. So yeah, of course, he had a great spring. Nolan Gorman did not, to your point. Burleson earned the opportunity to play every day or play at least on opening day. Do I think that they can mix it up? Yes. Do I think it's going to be very challenging for Oli Marmol? Yes, because I saw a tweet. I wish I could remember it verbatim, but I did laugh. Very rarely does a tweet make me laugh because you guys are so mean. But It was essentially like, hey, Oli, here's a lineup in which you need to play all these players, get 600 bats for every single one, win ball games, and also make sure that your bosses are happy. Go have fun. And that's really challenging for the manager. So I don't know how he's going to do it. I think no matter where you dice this up, someone is on the bench that probably shouldn't be, whether that's a Newt Bar, because on days that Burleson and Gorman are in the lineup and Donovan's in left, Newt Bar's on the bench. It's confusing just to keep track of. I can't even do it. And then there's the flip side with Jordan Walker. And this is a question I have. I'm not saying the Cardinals are going to do this, but logically speaking, if Michael Ciani, who I like Michael Ciani, and I've said this before, there is value as the fourth outfielder defensive replacement. Any postseason club has that on their roster. I don't know if the Cardinals necessarily fit the definition of a postseason club at the moment. I don't know. I don't believe there was room for two of them. I'm not quite sure why they took both Scott and Ciani. But if Michael Ciani is on your roster, definitely not to serve as a left-handed pinch hitter, but to serve as that defensive replacement. Who is he replacing in late games, Bernie? He's replacing Jordan Walker. And what good does it do for Jordan Walker to know he's going to get, okay, yeah, you're going to get 2 or 3 at-bats in the early innings of the game. But when the game is on the line, buddy, you are out. See ya. We don't want you out of that. We don't want you on the field. We don't want you. We don't trust you, is what they're saying there. How is that good for his long-term development?
It's not. It's exactly. You absolutely nailed that. And you could almost you guys could start like a pool in the press box where it's like, okay, all right, what inning tonight does Ali put Ciani in right field?
Yeah, I love my little press box games. Nobody else does.
Yeah. Okay. Pull it out of a hat. It's like okay, pull it out of the hat. Oh, you got the 5th inning. Well, yeah, he might bring him in the 5th inning if they have a 2-run lead. Something like that. And then I always think about it in extremes. But what if it does get like extreme to where they have a 1-run lead and it's the 5th inning and all of a sudden you see Ciani trotting out to right field? I mean, is there going to be any limit to this? Because we know, and I kind of tease Marmol about this because I'm with you. Ciani does have attributes that can help a team. There's no doubt.
Agreed.
But if he's pulling Gorman out of games like in the middle innings, if they have a 1 or 2-run lead, maybe 5th or 6th inning. Yeah, how and you're telling him, no, we think we can't trust you, like you just said. We don't trust you in the last 3 innings of a game if we have a lead. And by the way, I don't know if we trust you at the plate either. So I mean, it's like, wow. I mean, this could be just one of those years where it's just a lot of craziness going on.
I just hope it doesn't bring in shades of 2023. I will say, though, Bernie, I was very strategic in my travel schedule to start the year. I'm on every single road trip except for one in the first 6 weeks, because in 2023, there was a 10-game swing, Seattle, San Francisco, LA, and that was at the end of April, and it defined the season. So I'm not prepping for worst case scenario. I'm not prepping for 2023. I think it's going to be better than that. But some of the messaging and some of the questions that we have with the roster in terms of playing time, consistency, roles, it kind of reminds me of that. And maybe not to that extent, but it is something to keep in mind. But hey, what do we know? We'll see in the next 3 days what this could look like when the Cardinals take on the Twins at Busch Stadium. Before we go, I have to ask you this question. We talked about press box games. I play a lot. I play a lot of them. Good. I'm going to work on not talking as much during games, but I just have so much to say. And I personally think I'm very funny. So when I think of a joke, poor Daniel Guerrero next to me has to hear it, whether he wants to or not. But one of the things that I do before the first game of the season is we take a poll for the first Cardinal you think will hit a home run of the season. Who is your pick?
Contreras.
Okay, I like that. I was between him and Arenado. So because you took Contreras, I'll take Nolan. Who was the player from the Dodgers that they wanted to trade so badly and they couldn't? And he begrudgingly came back. Not like Nolan begrudgingly came back. Nolan's actually done a very nice job this spring of handling that. But then he homered in his first plate appearance and everyone went crazy and it was great. I can't remember the name, but that happened.
Well, you got the Pablo Lopez factor too. He was the guy that ended Wilson Contreras' season in Minneapolis last year, right? And so
I love revenge. I love this.
Contreras is one. It's first of all, this guy. I hope Cardinals fans give him a great, great ovation. He wants to stay here. He loves being a Cardinal. He wants to be a leader. He's tough. He's competitive. Show this guy you appreciate the fact that he wanted to stay here. That's number one. But anyway, the way his mind works, yeah, it's not that he hates Pablo Lopez, but it's like, oh, okay, yeah. Remember that? Okay, I remember that. Okay, come on inside again. We'll see what happens.
All right, you're spot on how Wilson on how that was
right.
going.
So, but I hope he has a great season. I really do.
I hope so too. So we'll lock in you for Contreras. I have Arenado. It's probably going to be Victor Scott. That's probably what's going to happen. But no, I'm so ready for real baseball. What I think gets me, not to be sentimental, but towards the end of the 2024 season, when it was clear the Cardinals weren't going to make the postseason, I shifted to, the downfall, if you will, of player development. And really the month of September, I was at the games, but I wasn't watching them from a critical analysis point of view. And I really missed doing that. I certainly was not doing that during spring training. Oh my God. Any of you who are, credit to you. But I am so excited to sit down, seat 17 at Busch Stadium, and have my little scorebook, fill it out, watch a ball game, and analyze it and share it with, people on The Athletic, our friends here at Cardinal Territory. I love baseball season, and I'm super excited for what this could bring, because you just never know. 162 games is a very long time, Bernie. I have no idea what we're in store for, but I know it's going to be fun regardless.
No, I agree. There's a lot of things that can happen, and it could be a really wild ride. And even if the team's 500-ish, it can still be an entertaining season, because there's going to be always something happening, always something we're trying to figure out, always something like, what's he doing now?
Trust me.
It's going to be a lot of that this year, and that makes for good conversation, and that includes fans too. I'm not talking about a media standpoint. Fans will be. We all love the second guess managers and all that stuff. Fans will have a festival of just like analyzing every move and who's in, who's out, who's got priority status now. Oh, what did he do? He's not playing as much. And Oli's going to be trying to juggle this torn between trying to win every game, but also trying to maybe build that bridge for 26. And maybe he's not even going to make it across the bridge to 26. I mean, just hypothetically. So,
no, there's so much, that's where I feel. I don't even know where to start. I'm overwhelmed, but in the best way. I will tell you what I'm anxious about. A little running bit that I've had on Twitter since 2021 is, for whatever reason, people think I make the freaking lineup. I don't make the lineup. I'm just passing it on to you. I am going to get shredded every game, because no matter what, somebody that is not in the lineup that should be will be on the bench.
Right. And
Twitter is going to go crazy. I am not looking forward to that. But in a sick way, I kind of am. So like you said, Bernie, there'll be so much for us to talk about.
And one other thing, I mean, we keep dragging that, but we're having so much fun with this. The other thing too, that you and the other beat writers are going to have to put up with, the season of the Nolan Arenado rumors will pop up. I'm not quite sure. As soon as somebody gets hurt, as soon as the third baseman gets hurt, as soon as somebody, let's just say it, I'm not taking a shot at like John Heyman. I'm just saying someone with some name and some, recognition puts like one little note in a Sunday column somewhere, right? About, my friend Bob Nightingale, it's like just one little line about, well, this team is, they really want to upgrade at third base. So, they may make some call, and it's like, away we go.
Here we go again. I thought we were
20,000 blogs reacting to one line in a notes column, So are you ready for that? Are you ready for that?
I'm not. I am not at all. I was so glad to put that to bed for spring training, but you are so right. That's going to pop up again. And we're going to start this whole cycle over. And
you're going to get if they get off to a slow start, you, Katie, will be getting mailbag questions like, why haven't they traded Fetty? Why haven't they traded Helsley? So
I'm scared.
If they get off to a bad start after the first week, Katie will be getting not only things on X, she will be getting mailbag questions. She will be getting emails. Katie, why haven't they traded Fetty? Why do they trade Helsley? Why are they holding on to these guys?
They could go 1-2 against the Twins, and I'm going to get that.
And I'm not ripping Vince for doing that. I'm just saying, but that's just the way it's going to be. There's no question about it.
It is, and I'm here to be a soundboard. I'm like a personal therapist. I should really get paid more.
You really should.
We will trauma bond through the rest of the 2025 season. No, if you're feeling down, don't worry. You have me, you have Bernie, and we will have, again, a lot of fun, I guess, maybe. After that season, Bernie, I don't know. I don't know if I'll be having fun anymore.
Well, we always have a lot of laughs here when we work on Cardinal Territory. So that this is our haven. We can all have laughter and be a little silly. In addition to the serious stuff.
I'm a very unserious person. I only lock in when I have to.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
Right.
No, you do a great job. I can't wait to be tracking your coverage and Derek, and my old friend and colleague and John Dent. I love beat writers for obvious reasons. Beat writers are like the real stars of sports journalism.
Maybe in
No
our
doubt
own
about it.
lives, but no,
Huh?
I very much enjoy being a beat writer and being with those group of guys, like you said. And we are going to spend a lot of time with each other in the near future. So when you watch this video on Wednesday, whatever time you are, we'll be less than 24 hours into the regular season starting. And you can follow along with me on The Athletic, with Bernie and myself here on Cardinal Territory. Bernie's everywhere, STL Sports Hub, KMOX. Wherever you go, you have us in your corner. Let's get to it, Cardinals fans. Year 5 for me. I'm so stoked. We will catch up with you after the series. Hopefully everything goes well, but if not, we'll talk about it. For Bernie Miklasz, I'm Katie Woo. This is Cardinal Territory. Happy 2025 regular season.